All right. I am distracted right now, you guys. I'm seriously distracted.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm seriously distracted because I didn't have a morning. I went into my office this morning, and
there was a portal into another time and dimension.
There was, and there was no bacon in this place, and it was very upsetting.
Can you imagine if you did go to work, you just walked into your office, and there literally was just a portal there, and I'm imagining one of these. You just turn around, walk back up.
No, I don't have to imagine.
Wait, okay, if you walked in and there was a portal, would you go through it?
Or Dave would.
Back away? Because Dave, would that be like it was calling you home?
Dave wouldn't even blink. He'd just be like, well, here I go, going to work.
I would put hello.
I love when this happens.
This is always awesome.
All right, so go ahead.
Yeah, so I would not go through the portal for the record, but let me take a step back. So I go into my office this morning, and my computer will not take my password. It just keeps refusing it. And I know I'm not making a mistake.
This is your master passwords. This is like your one password.
Yeah, to get into my system.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get in, and it was just so miserable. And I finally ended up calling Apple, and the things that may have gone wrong were not normally what would have gone or had gone wrong in this case. And it ended up being over 3 hours on the phone. And it finally did get fixed. See, now, like, here's the difference between me and Dave. Dave's like, Apple, they suck. I'm like, Apple spent 3.5 hours on the phone with me for free today, like helping me solve a problem. And they couldn't have been nicer.
Well, if their computer didn't fuck up to begin with, you wouldn't need to be on the phone with them. That's all I'm saying.
So computers never fuck up, right?
I saw a tweet shared by, it was like by 50 Nerds of Gray or something like this. And the tweet that was shared, that somebody shared around, it said, I'm just winging it here. It was like, she said, I'm a bad girl. I need to be punished. And he said, very well, and installed Windows 10 on her laptop.
Yeah. So anyone have anything cool?
Yeah, I have something cool. So I actually shared something cool with Sean in person lately. And it's Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I told both of these guys to go watch that. Now, I'm not going to spoil anything here, but I want to tell you why I thought it was cool. It was cool. Like, the story was great. I thought it was really, really great. I loved the movie. I thought it was a really great thrill ride. Like, it was just cinematically, like, as a viewer, it was great. But as a storyteller, I thought it was extra great for a bunch of reasons. Number one, it takes place in the world of Harry Potter, but it is not a Harry Potter story. And I always really admired the way that, and this is a slight spoiler, but so not a spoiler for the 7th book in the Harry Potter series, just so you know. And it's like at the very end. And she basically says, no more Voldemort, no more Harry. Like, it's just like, that's it. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to keep beating that dead horse, which I really admired. And so this book has nothing to do with any of that other than like side things that are going on. Like, it's in the same world, but it's not like a prequel before Harry was born. I mean, it is kind of, I guess, but it's not like that. It's not like, here's what happened after Voldemort, you know?
The point is, if Harry Potter never took place, the Fantastic Beasts could stand on its own merit and still be its own thing 100%, right?
Yes, and it there's so much to this. I mean, just from a movie perspective, I thought it was very cool, just like the filmmaking, because it didn't. And the Harry Potter movie was this way too. The first one, and they all were. Is she didn't use big marquee actors. Now, the main actor is, he's an accomplished actor, but he's not like a marquee actor. He's not like...
He doesn't sell tickets. He doesn't.
He's not some big, crazy Hollywood, like, let's do opening weekend. He's not one of those people. But fantastic actor. And everybody else was kind of no names. Like, there weren't, other than, what's his name? Colin Farrell, he wasn't like a main guy, but he was in it. And so that was really cool. I thought that was bold. And I thought that the entire thing was like, so Sean and I wrote Plugged, which is our nonfiction Beam in the Beam world. It's like we took the time to say, let's write this story about the Beam world. And I didn't realize that Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them was actually an actual book until my son said, oh, I have that from like 2003, but it's a manual about fantastic beasts and where to find them. And this movie, even though it has the same name, is the story of like that guy. And I just thought this is just a story, and it was really, really cool what she did, what the filmmakers did with that movie. It was great. Everybody should see it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
Yes.
Dave?
I do believe Eddie Redmayne won an Oscar.
Yeah, but he's not a marquee actor.
Actually, okay. So I was just responding to Amy in the chat because she said, yeah, he does. I think in reference to he doesn't put asses in seats.
But not the same asses in seats.
No.
It's not the same thing.
I agree. He's been nominated twice. I think he's exceptional. But for a big budget movie like that, that's not the kind of actor that puts asses in seats.
Well, there's also budgets. If they got somebody too big, then they couldn't lock them up for 95 million.
I do not think that was a budget concern for the Harry Potter franchise.
You never know.
Yeah, I mean, he's an accomplished actor. Christine says, oh, it's not like he was in Les Mis or anything. And that's what the American movie-going schlub thinks. Oh, he was in Les Mis? Well, shit, I want to get out of my trailer and go see that for sure. Like, that's just not how most people think. So I stand by my statement.
They should have. No, I agree with it. They should have cast Tom Cruise. Would that have been okay with you? Would you like that?
That would have been great.
My something cool is actually a book that I started reading on the plane trip.
Did you get past the wedding scene? Is it good?
I read the whole fucking book.
Wow.
It was Blake Crouch, Dark Matter. Have either of you read that or not?
I have that, I think, but no, I haven't read it.
It is, you really can't give away too much, but basically it's about a guy that one night he's walking home from the bar and he's considering like the life unlived as he's walking home, which I think is in the wheelhouse of some of your stories. And he gets abducted by somebody who asks him about his life, all these questions, and then they drug him up and he wakes up like in an alternate universe, and you go from there. It's pretty damn cool.
That sounds awesome.
That sounds awesome.
All right. Well, I'll go. I'll do a movie too then, I guess. So I just saw Edge of 17, and I thought it was.
Oh, that looks good.
It was awesome.
See now. This must be that I'm disconnected because I haven't even heard of this movie. I don't see trailers and stuff.
Did they play the Stevie Nicks song in the movie at all?
I don't even know what the movie is.
Yeah, I think so. It has a Haley Stanfield who she was in True Grit. She's super, super good. And she plays this teenager who has like a super like Dudley Do-Right type brother who's just always, doing everything right. And he's really buff and she just hates him so much. And she's kind of an outcast, and her best friend, Lil, and they have No. Oh, did I see it with my family? No.
Because I figure your daughter would probably like it.
No, she'd love it. But no, we saw it for date day. And the reason we saw that actually, it was Cindy's suggestion. And I really want to see Moana and Fantastic Beasts, but like that's something that we would see with them. So we were looking for stuff that, okay, well, what do we want to watch together? And it seemed great, but it kind of blew me away how great it was. Woody Harrelson steals every scene he's in. He's just fantastic. And it's really good. It's a good coming of age movie. I think it was around this time last year. I went to go see Diary of a Teenage Girl, that old fiasco. And the movies are not similar at all, but they're in the same vein. They're in the same genre. And I like this one so much better, like not even close. And I like the protagonist a lot more. I sympathize with her. So anyway, it was really, really good.
Yeah, that other girl was very self-centered and obnoxious.
Yeah, I couldn't sympathize with her. Like I actively disliked her, and I didn't want good things to happen for her. And like, that's not what you want for the main character in your movie. So yeah.
All right. So I have heard from so many people who are like, I feel like I need a segue.
Well, we didn't introduce today's topic, and that is kind of a natural segue.
All right. Well, then would you like to introduce today's topic, Sean? Why don't you go ahead and handle that?
Okay. So today we're going to do something we called it live brainstorming, but this is kind of what we did during Fiction on Box days, where we didn't have a plot, we didn't have a genre, we didn't have characters. we didn't have any ideas. We were literally bringing nothing to the table and going to unbox that. And it was a difficult 3-day process. And it even had like a really great cliffhanger in the middle where we had to like throw up our arms and take a long walk because we had to start writing the next day and we had nothing. And the brainstorming is just an amazing process. And if you have good collaborative partners who are bouncing ideas back and forth, and you're always starting with yes and, you can really see where those ideas can go. And we really do believe that a lot of artists have it backwards, and they're always looking for the great idea instead of working to make the idea great. And so I just thought it would be fun if we spent today just kind of live brainstorming. So we asked on Smart Artists on the Facebook page to give us different elements. And Amy made a little questionnaire for everybody, and we got a bunch of submissions, and then she narrowed it down. So out of random 50 submissions.
A caveman time cop.
Yeah, this is basically a caveman time cop exercise. Oh, we could talk about that when we get there.
He's not going to let us.
Yeah, but so we have 4 protagonists to choose from, 4 settings to choose from, 4 conflicts to choose from, and we're going to make up stories live in front of you. We haven't talked about this at all, so we only saw the list right before we started the show and haven't talked. So this should be really fun or truly terrible. We'll talk more about that in a second anyway.
Well, what I have to wonder though, if you were to do your brainstorming and you were to create, a great premise and a great outline, and then you have that question, well, is it any good? Are there any holes in this plot that I'm about to create about this caveman time cop? That's the sort of thing like, what would you do? You don't want to write the whole book, find it shitty, and then get a developmental edit and pay $60,000, right?
Our developmental edits running $60,000.
They are.
Wow, that's more than a Mercedes.
They are. I'm having Eddie Redmayne do
Only there were.
Wow. Well, okay, here's the thing. Brainstorming is really fun. And what I love about brainstorming is that your ideas can be crazy. But, sometimes when things are crazy, they need a straitjacket, right? Well, when your story is crazy, it needs a story jacket.
Wow,
that read needs a straitjacket.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. So you went from straitjacket. I would have gone with a life jacket, like a way to developmentally edit your thing before you make horrid mistakes.
Get all the crazy out of your story. If you narrow it down to just the outline that works, that's commercially viable, you get the crazy out there. I mean, look, clearly you could spend some time in an insane asylum, leave, and still be a little bit crazy. And your book should be a little bit crazy, but you got to
attest to that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of things that are crazy, I would say that the service that Sterling & Stone is offering through our ace editor, Clark Chamberlain, is a pretty crazy thing, which would be a way to get a developmental edit at the
Come down to Crazy Clark's.
So that you don't have to pay $60,000 for your developmental edit, which may be slightly more than the going rate. I don't know. I just do what people tell me to do. So John, do you want to tell people a little bit about what a story jacket is, not a straitjacket?
Oh, not a straitjacket. Yeah, a story jacket. So a story jacket is just getting the nuts and bolts of your story in place before you start writing it. And it's what we're using for all of our properties now.
Why does that matter? Why not wing it and then figure out as you go, or just totally pants that shit or whatever?
Well, because
pants that shit is different from shit those pants.
because when you pants that shit, you end up making mistakes. You have more rewriting to do. You don't kind of know your direction as well. And you can certainly do this yourself. And for us, I mean, we did it ourselves each time. We kind of, our process hasn't
We were
changed.
each other's developmental editors at the end.
Right. But now having an extra person to go in there and kind of fill in some of the gaps, because there's always questions that I have, there's always questions that you have that are just naturally there as holes in the story. And for us now, a third person coming in and observing that and saying, oh, well, that's great. I like this, but here's one problem I have, and here's 2 things that you didn't think about that are really awesome, and here's a bunch of color. And that kind of stuff keeps us on track and keeps us going. And I'm just thrilled that we can do this.
And you can miss these things if you're working independently. There have been a number of times when, I'm sure I would do the same thing, but our process goes, Sean creates and then I look at the outline. But I remember there were some things in one of our books where I was like, so this just randomly happened, right? Like that makes sense that they would just go and do this incredibly dumb thing. And Sean's like, oh, yeah, I didn't think about that. And so this is that I didn't think about that. So to get your story jacket, it's at sterlingandstone.net/story jacket. Clark is doing 2 of those a week. Are we officially offering the other version of these, which I don't know if I'm allowed to announce with our other?
Yeah, I know. Amy said no.
Not officially. Okay. So yeah, so sterlingandstone.net/storyjacket. Clark will be doing 2 of these a week, and save your story before it gets before you fuck it up. Basically, especially if you're trying to write to market, you want to have that lined up ahead of time. So there we go. So let's move into the brainstorming stuff. Sean's taking the lead on this one.
All right. So let's just get. Okay, here's kind of how I see this. We'll run with an idea and just start with. There's a possibility that we'll do 1. There's a chance that we'll do all 4. I have no idea. I think it depends on how good the ideas are. Because if they're really if we start out with kind of a crappy idea, it probably makes sense to ditch it and start over, right? But let's just start. So
you stuck with Decoy Wallet.
Decoy Wallet is awesome. and when you read it someday, when you get past the wedding scene.
I meant redacted. I get them confused.
Oh, we didn't stick with redacted. So there.
Oh, you finished that story.
Neener. No, that was a pilot, dude. There's no other redacted.
That's a pilot that went down.
Anyway. Here are our protagonists to work with. We have a journalist who stumbles across.
Where did we get these ideas again?
From our Facebook community.
Okay.
Amy asked yesterday, and boom, here we go. So
was everybody drunk?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Go ahead.
Okay. So, but just so you know that Dave does think these ideas are all terrible, and he flat out said
that was what I meant by
okay. All right, so
trying to be nice.
Okay, so here are the concerns. I think before we start this, both Johnny and Dave are a little concerned that this may be a terrible episode because we'll brainstorm something awful. But I'm okay with that.
I'm actually not thinking that we're going to brainstorm something awful. I think that we're going to meander as we brainstorm.
Yes, but that's part of the process, and okay.
So meandering is intentional. Everybody.
Yeah, this is brainstorming, and I think that. I know that I always really appreciate a look into someone else's creative process. And I think most creative people are, they tend to create with the door closed. And I think that even though we only have 45 minutes of doing this, I think 45 minutes of live brainstorming could, get light bulbs to a few people, and that would be awesome. So, yes. Okay, so our choices are protagonists. We have a journalist who stumbles across a national secret, a librarian, a fitness instructor, and a bride who was stood up at her wedding.
A fitness instructor at Orange Theory?
Well, my problem with a fitness instructor is that they're okay, maybe not.
They're perfect.
You could do all of these, but I think that from a pure, I think the easiest of these is the first one, the journalist.
Yes, but then does that send us into cliché? Unless the national secret is not cliché at all.
No, I mean, come on, what? There's been secret. What if the secret were I don't want to blow these settings, but or the conflict, or what if those were the national secrets? Like in the a lot of in the Harry Potter world, the magical and the Muggle worlds coexist, and that would be a national secret, right?
Yeah, that would be a national secret. Okay, that's cool. I also like a bride who stood up at her wedding because hell hath no fury, right?
So Christine said, since when do you guys go with easy? I would say we're going for relatable. That's what I'm shooting for. It's not that I'm trying to get easy. It's that I'm trying to, because if we do the weirdest one, you guys are gonna be like, well, I guess you maybe kind of could make that work, and then Dave will say, no, that's
right. No, Johnny's totally right about this. He's totally right. Okay, so I like librarian too, just because a librarian is so naturally.
It's like your linguist thing.
Yeah, right. I would like that. A librarian could know a lot about history. Or did you ever read The Historian? Yeah, we talked about The Historian.
Yeah, I read The Historian.
Yeah, right.
I know a librarian that doesn't even read.
Really?
No shit.
You should expose that shit.
Is she in Florida?
It's almost as if it's just a job.
Of course she's in Florida.
Wow. That's a little sad. She doesn't even get to the wedding scenes?
She doesn't even start a book.
Wow. That's tragic. So I could make a case for any of these. I think fitness instructor is my least favorite because it's just somebody who's already fit And like,
Yeah, fuck those people.
if we're doing like an action thing, then maybe. But if it's something, I don't know.
It
like,
depends. I mean, the Tom Cruise character in Mission Impossible is fit.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. If it's like an action thing, then yeah, sure. Or
Fitness instructor that's secretly fat is me.
I want to write fat spot.
How do they hide it?
I guess, okay, you know what it is? It's not that they're fit. It's that I'm not curious about a fitness instructor. That's not a curious enough profession. A librarian, that's a really curious person. Their job is to be around books and
yes, books.
You dick.
Rather than people.
And but maybe that's part of the character. Maybe they have an aversion to people, and they're all of a sudden having to thrown into a situation with lots of people.
Okay, a librarian that has to join Orange Theory and be around people.
Okay, why would the librarian have to join Orange Theory?
I'm just gonna keep mentioning Orange Theory.
Okay, you do that. That's awesome. Are they sponsoring us now?
Yeah, me. They're sponsoring me.
Oh, that's awesome. Would you go to an Orange Theory if one opened up in Redacted?
I would go to laugh.
Awesome. All right. So
Danielle Garrett says, "I love when Dave is this grumpy." Actually, I'm very tired. So.
He's so tired.
I've been up since midnight.
We got on 5 minutes ahead of time, and he was saying some very unsavory things.
Shocking.
And it only took him like 2 minutes, and I'm like, "Oh my god, that's so filthy." So bad. Anyway, so do we have a favorite among these, you guys?
Well, you seem to like the librarian.
I think we should figure out the story before we figure out the character, don't you think?
Well, no? we're going in order, but we could start talking about setting.
We don't have any stories here. We just have settings. We don't have actual stories.
No, but that's the point. We're going to brainstorm a story. So, so I like what Dave's saying. So we can go with setting and conflict, and then if we come up with a better setting or conflict that changes our protagonist, then we'll evolve. So that's cool. Okay, so our settings are a Starbucks at the nexus of multiple parallel worlds, Buckingham Palace.
I actually do like that.
Cuba, and a hospital with hidden and locked rooms. I feel like we cannot ignore Starbucks at the nexus of multiple parallel worlds. But I do like haunted hospitals. Like a hospital could be cool too.
Yeah, I agreed. It would depend on what it is. But that could be like a portal sort of thing, right?
Yeah, okay, so let's get rid of Buckingham Palace and Cuba. And then for conflict, we have, that was easy. Setting way easier.
Those are two places I will never write anything that occurs in, by the way.
Cuba and Buckingham Palace.
What if the national secret they've exposed that Buckingham Palace is in Cuba?
Oh, Cuba being in Buckingham Palace would be way weirder, though, wouldn't it?
Oh, it would.
And Prince Charles is interrogating people at Guantanamo.
All right, so our conflict. A coven of evil warlocks think they own the area and anyone who trespasses. Can't stop licking her fingers. Yes. All right, clearly that one's a joke. Robots attack the castle.
That's not a joke. And
possessed by dead mother. I think we could get all of these in there.
You imagine somebody at Starbucks licking their fingers? How awful that would be. Oh my god.
Oh yeah. Okay. So what if the Starbucks is the nexus of parallel worlds, and every time they go to another world, there's like the people are all different, but the cashier is always licking their fingers. Like it's a constant.
Or they're bringing their germs from one world to the other and infecting people.
But how would it
die?
How could you die from like a parallel? It's parallel.
Is it no? It's parallel.
No, I think that's actually the essence of that's like an ecological principle. That's why you can't take plants and animals into other.
But wouldn't it wipe everything out?
Well, not necessarily.
Okay, all right.
It depends on what it is.
All right, so
not all life.
Okay.
Not all species would be susceptible to it.
Okay, so let's keep can't stop licking her fingers. And what I like about that anyway is because when we write, I would say 100% of Roman Sands books have Easter eggs in them. And that's because they're fun. And so I like keeping licking her fingers in there for that reason.
Dave has never allowed an Easter egg, I don't think.
I have Easter eggs.
No.
He break them open.
Yes.
Make children cry.
Do you stomp them? Do you stomp them under your Herman Munster boots?
Yes.
All right. Can we do evil warlocks if they but like play it straight? So they're like they're just like ugly people who's like they just know how to do magic, but they don't like
but they're ugly as long as they're ugly.
All right, never mind. I'm going with evil warlocks, a coven of evil warlocks. I think that's cool.
But wait. I thought you were doing Can't Stop Licking Her Fingers.
I actually, despite the ridiculousness of Can't Stop Licking Your Fingers, that appeals to me from a biological challenge standpoint.
All right. Okay. So it's not an element, it's the element?
You mean that Honda car?
Well, no, I mean, that's what so we're not going to pick two conflicts and Can't Stop Licking Her Fingers is an extra. It's actually the conflict.
Oh,
that is the least comfortable Honda ever, by the way.
Okay. My mother and sister both have a Honda element. Don't triangulate on their position.
I know somebody that does too.
Oh.
And it's like driving a tank.
All right. Okay. So then, cool. Can't Stop Licking Her Fingers.
Well, because if you made it a character affect, then it could be secondary. But I think that if it's a major thing, then you end up with Spider-Man syndrome, whatever that one was, where they had like 5 villains. Like, okay, too many storylines. Stop.
Okay, so what if? Okay, I like Librarian. I like Starbucks. I like Licking Fingers. So let's roll with that. So what do we got?
The Starbucks. If we go with Starbucks, then if it literally has to be Starbucks, I don't know how you don't make it satirical. Like that sounds like a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy sort of a premise.
Well, okay.
It has to be Starbucks.
Well, no, I don't think it does. I think this is one of those creative license things because it's Starbucks. It's a coffee shop. Yes, we could make it Starbucks, but then it's an LOL title. This is one of those things where let's actually talk about this. Okay, so what imprint are we writing this story for? Because that's going to shape what kind of story we tell.
Well, I mean, I would want to do it Realm and Sands, but that's just my vote because I'm imagining like multiple parallel worlds. Because here's what I'm imagining, and maybe this changes. Maybe we should do a version for each imprint. That might be kind of.
If we have time, we could do that. That's pretty cool.
So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that if you say Starbucks with artistic license is the nexus of parallel worlds, I'm imagining like an interdimensional depot. Like it's not they discover a portal. Although are we doing no, we're doing the Librarian. So it's not like they discover a portal. It's that it's like a bus station. Like it's everybody knows it's there. People go through it when they're going back. It's like Stargate, right? Like they're going back and forth between worlds. And then the Librarian could be a Typhoid Mary. You know, the Librarian could be she's licking her fingers, ha ha ha, Easter egg. But really, it's about carrying a disease between worlds.
It's a hipster intergalactic portal.
I do picture a lot of hipsters.
You carry the disease in their pork pie hats.
Okay. So why don't we tell a Realm and Sands version of this story and a CI version of this story? Because we would tell this story differently. We would have
the exact same story. So the exact same elements.
These elements. So what's the best way to do this? Do you want to do like just one conversation where we're both contributing to it, or do you want to do like CI for 5 minutes and then ding, like we can even set a timer and then go to the
you
other
guys
side? Carrying. Okay, so all right, I'm gonna actually do a timer.
If Dave's screen goes black and we don't hear from him for 5 minutes, and he knows he's got 5 minutes, what do you think's going on over there?
All right, so clearly we'll get biological on this because
right. So this is an interesting brainstorming thing because normally Sean would start with something and then we would discuss specific points of it. Like just today I was working out some shit for Cursed that took me hours. And I was like, oh man, I wish we had had a discussion for that. But but we didn't. And that's my fault. But anyway, my point is I don't know how well I'm going to be able to start with nothing. So do you want to kind of give me some main points first?
Yeah. And it's hard because A, these would normally be long conversations. B, they would have a lot of quiet time.
Yeah, did you set the timer? Because I have one here.
Yeah, no, I did. Yeah.
Okay.
And now we're like doing it live and rushing through it. But again, it's the exercise.
Obeying the fences.
Right. So just don't be too critical of our ideas, guys, right? Because we're trying to go fast here.
And we're trying to make a point.
Yeah. So I do think I like the biological thing. That's pretty great. And if it's a portal, my biggest question that I have there is, do the people who are generally using the portal, they know, and when they go into a world, okay, so I'm going to my Starbucks portal. I'm going to grab my coffee and go to another dimension, right? Maybe it's like a Nightmare Before Christmas. There's just all the different little trees and each one goes to a holiday.
Well, at the risk of alienating everybody, I hated that movie. I wanted to watch it because everybody seems to love it. And I was like, I fucking hate this. I looked at Robin. Do you hate it too? Yes, I hate it too.
Yes, you're crazy. But still, that's a cool idea with all the portals there. Do you remember that?
No, because I barely made it into it. But
oh
there
my
was...
God, it's so good. Anyway, so he goes, or I go to get my coffee, and I go through the portal. When I go to another world, am I like an odd spy in that world? Or is this like mass traffic and people go from one world to the other because...
Well, I'm imagining an axe. Okay, so I'm imagining the portal itself as a Grand Central Station. So it's fully legal, authorized. This is just my first thought at it. And I'm imagining the person who licks their fingers as like, the analogy is Wayne Knight in Jurassic Park. You know, where he accidentally, he's trying to do something else. Like he's trying to smuggle some shit, and that causes him to, you know, shut down systems. And it's not exactly the same. You know, it would be closer to, I don't know, so like Andromeda Strain or something. Like I love that these are all Michael Crichton. You know, where somebody's carrying something, they don't know they're carrying it. That's what I'm imagining. Carrying it being a disease. Like they check everything, but they don't. She licks her fingers. Like there's all these rules about you can't do this, you can't do this. But the one thing nobody accounted for was the fact that she'd be licking her fingers or touching luggage or something. That's what I'm imagining.
Yeah, no, that totally works for me. So, what are the consequences? Is she the main character, or is this person who did that a catalyst? And our main character is maybe it's somebody who comes over. Like she's not going from here to the other world, she's going from the other world here, and she licks her fingers and brings it here, right?
Well, I'm imagining, since she's dealing with books, like librarians touch all the books, they exchange between libraries, you know, books will be on loan from another library. It could be an intergalactic library or an interdimensional library system, or it could just be moving books.
Okay, what if it is an intergalactic library? Look at Dave back there. What if it is an
I'm writing down my idea.
Oh, that's awesome. What if it is an intergalactic library, and they
Beastie Boys intergalactic play at it?
Yes, on a loop. So when you go to this library, it's like that's where you find out information about other dimensions or star systems or whatever, right? So if I'm curious if I want to look into Quaxelborg and see what he's been up to, I would go here. Right. So think about all the germs that are just migrated. Right. And so that's the point. It's the fact that people are bringing back books too. Like you can check out the books, go somewhere, you know, bring it back to your dimension or planet or whatever, and bring it back to that library. And so she's touching all of that, and we don't know. And maybe that could be part of it. They don't know where the origin of the germ is from.
So the idea, it's a genetic detective story, like trying to track down the origin of it, like a patient zero sort of thing. Like they can't cure it until they find it.
Yeah, maybe they're sophisticated enough that they can quell it, but they do need a patient zero.
Okay. So where does it go? How much time do I have left?
Okay, well, we're done.
We're out of time. Okay, well, so do you want to do the CI version, or do we want to say a rough 3 acts and give ourselves another few minutes?
I would say give us another 5, and
that's what I'm thinking. It's kind of a ball buster to just have some ideas. So I would say take another 5, and then you can do 10 for CI, and just let's say what the 3 acts are. Like, what are the main points?
All right. So So how would we want this to end? Because a lot of times when we're talking about ends or, our soggy middles.
Well, you always start with the end. You'll always say, well, how do we want it to end? But I always kind of play along because that's probably not how I would do it. I tend to find the end by starting at the beginning, but we can do it. We should do it our way. So if we start with you.
Well, I kind of like the play where, and this is a very Roman Sans thing. So actually, do you know where I'm going? Can you guess what I would want the ending to be?
It's some sort of an evolutionary thing. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's the next stage. It wasn't
inevitable. It's inevitable.
It's a chaos theory sort of thing.
Right. So we spend the whole book fighting the idea that, this is a terrible, terrible thing. And then maybe 2/3, actually, this is it. So they're trying to stop it. They're trying to stop it. And it's getting really panicky. It's a thriller. It's, people are getting really upset because it's infecting the other dimensions. And maybe there's only certain people who can travel to and from, and it threatens to close it all down. You're not going to be able to, and maybe there's a whole underground network of trading. That's
right. It's like a no-fly thing. And then people have to move to the underground because it's still...
Yeah, and it's going to it'll destroy the, intergalactic whatever economy, right? If there's all these parallel worlds linked, and that's where a lot of monetary traffic is happening, and they have to close it down, that's very threatening. Or maybe it could even escalate and be worse, because if the virus is everywhere, then it's actually going to affect the general populations on these places. You really want to amp up the danger, but then at the very end, we realize that it's okay. It's change. It's not good or bad. It's evolution. It is what it's supposed to be.
So what are the 3 acts roughly here? I mean, the setup is the spread of the disease, but that's not the full first act.
No, that's got to happen pretty early on, actually.
Right. Usually the first act ends when somebody decides to go on the journey to undertake the quest, something like that.
Well, right. So I'm imagining our librarian. Now, is our librarian, I assume it's a female, but is that sexist? Because I think of librarians as female. Do you want to play against type and have a male?
I don't think there's type either way. I would just say you said she first, so why change midstream?
All right, so our librarian is, let's have her know something that she doesn't even realize she knows, right? It's the whole...
because she's a librarian.
Right, everyone's a ninja to someone, right? So she knows all kinds of shit. Basically, she's been playing, The Last Starfighter forever, right? So she's uniquely equipped. She's naturally curious, and she's always been reading all of these books. When Quaxelborg comes in to borrow, a book and deposit his other books, she reads. She's very, very curious, and so there's a lot of and we should have some kind of a unicorn, right? Where maybe a device that keeps everything that maybe it's called the compass or something, but it's actually just filled with all of her favorite. It's basically like a parallel dimension.
I almost want to play with the idea of it was something that you wouldn't. Didn't Interstellar do something like this, where it was like something innocent from childhood that you wouldn't think would be able to stop an intergalactic disease spread or something, but it was like a rhyme from a book, or that had some relevances. And that maybe you'd have to take a long time to figure that out. But you know what I mean? You wouldn't even have to be like something really complicated. Let me go look that up. It was more like my grandma used to say this because it was her favorite book. And you know what I mean? Does that make any sense?
Mary L suggests that eating boogers is the cure.
Oh, wow. Gross.
Maybe we'll run with that. Hold on. Let me check the time. Okay, so we've got 36 seconds here.
Okay, so yeah, we're not going to make it.
I've already figured out my whole story.
All right, well, let's start this 15 seconds early and roll to Dave.
So we aren't going to have any sort of a capper on this?
Well, I feel like...
Well, there'd have to be some sort... Yeah, there'd have to be some sort of a force, I would think, that would be able to be trying to stop it. And the main character would mobilize with that force.
Is there a force that tried to start it? Are there opposing forces there? Is there somebody who introduced the gene, or is it just...
Well, maybe I'm just trying to do the 30-second version of it.
Yeah, I think we should. I think we should move to CI, and we'll still have time. Like we can.
Okay, well, we can come back to it, but I think that just to close this a little bit, I think that we need to have something that they begin to to start it. Like we're going to go ahead, we're going to fight this disease, and then the act 2 is them trying and failing, and then I would say that at some point they have to go all in and make some sacrifice.
Yeah, and she has to be super resistant in the beginning. Like that's it. I'm just a librarian. I'm just a librarian. And of course she's been dreaming forever about having adventures, but she never had an adventure, and she needs to accept the call. So
okay, well, you can move to CI on that because that at least gives it a little bit of something or other.
Yeah, well, I also think it's important to move to CI because then, like, Dave's had 10 minutes to marinate, right? And now we can gel on these ideas a little bit, or you can, and then we'll circle back. So, Dave, let's hear the whole thing.
All right, mine I think is a short story, a typical Collective Inkwell short story. We have a character. We'll call her Jess. She's living a life of quiet misery, married to a man she doesn't love. She's gay, but she never came out, and she's hidden it because her family's like ultra religious. So she's basically living out her life, and she finds out about this Starbucks that opens up, and one of the services they offer is that there's people that work there that can basically find the parallel world where your choice was different.
Oh, I love that.
So and she finds a world.
Oh, good. Why is that a short story? That's better than a short story. That's a great.
She finds a world. Dark matter kind of plays with the whole parallel world sort of thing, but not in the same way. But she finds a world where not only did she come out as gay, but she was with the person that she loved, which is her friend that she hasn't talked to in a long time, one of her best friends. So she decides to find this world, and what happens is she finds also,
Dave is owning this shit.
she finds a world where the version of her has just died in a car accident, so she can step in and basically take over that person's life. And what happens is because she's a finger licker and her husband like had a cold, I'm thinking what happens is she finds this person, she's in love and she's happy, and she gets them sick, and the sickness winds up killing the person she's there with because it's
oh my God, you made it so terrible.
Wow, I love how there's the CI. I was wondering whether that was CI or Relman Sands, but then he made it CI.
Yeah. Right. No, I was so with you, and then all of a sudden, why? But yeah, that's
and basically the whole thing is like you cannot escape your decisions, and her decision to basically be with this man wound up costing her because it's his sickness that spread to the other world and killed the person she loved.
Okay. Can we all, everyone on the Sterling and Stone team, can we gang up on Dave and tell him to write this Dark Crossings? If it's a short, he has to write one anyway. So Dave, can you write this?
Sure.
And
if I can remember it, I'll have to listen to the episode.
If you can remember it, it's not like it's documented in several places.
Right. That means I have to listen to the show, though.
Oh my God, Johnny, he owned us. Like, I didn't even participate in that. Like, I have nothing to do with that. Great job, Dave. That was really awesome. Wow. I need a cigarette. That was impressive.
That's my one talent, finding something and making it as dark as possible.
Very good. Okay, well, wow. Back to our shitty story.
Why go on?
Why even continue? We really should, and we should have ran Relman Sands long and then let Dave finish, because now we're coming back to
right, because he just walked around and just smacked us with his dick. He was just like this is how you do it, bitches. It's gonna take you 30 seconds.
Pulled up my shirt and showed my abs are better than yours.
That's right. But that would have been a great capper if we had spent 30 minutes like, well, what if we did this?
I know.
And then Dave's like, no, here's it.
I feel like now we're just squatting down and everybody's watching it leak out.
Wow, graphic. Okay.
All right. So where were we? Some stupid germ, multiple
Well,
parallel.
I don't know. I've lost interest.
This sucks.
You can write in mine.
We could just spend the next 10 minutes talking.
Why don't you just develop the
talking
idea?
about how awesome Dave is?
Because like I'm like, I'm sure our story would end up being awesome after much development and early stuff. But my point is that this one was such a cool concept that it feels like a ball buster to go back to it. So why don't you guys work out that one more?
Yeah, I like that idea.
Why don't you well, because no, that'll fuck up the assigning as a Dark Crossings. I was going to
say, no, I wanted to
expand it.
You know what? Okay, here, we've just got a few minutes. Why don't we go back to the well? All right, so now we're going to have a journalist who stumbles across a national secret.
Oh, so we are still doing this one.
No, it's different. It's a different one.
Oh, okay.
It's not a librarian. It's a journalist who stumbles across a national secret. And let's say a hospital with hidden rooms. And
that's CI story.
And possessed by dead mother. Well, Dave can own us again.
I don't want to go first. But I don't want to go second either. Why don't we just do a CI version? I'm not good at rapid brainstorming.
Wow, Dave, you just you
I'll never be confident again.
Wow. This is the best day of Dave's life right now. He's so happy.
Uh-huh. I'm half asleep.
That may be the secret.
That was fantastic.
It is actually. I like to get like really, really tired and write.
Oh my God. I like to get really, really tired and sleep. What's wrong with you?
No, not when I need to write, but like when I need to come up with something.
Oh, okay.
Or I'm stuck because my loopy mind's a little bit better.
Okay, no, I get that. I thought like you like to write at the point of exhaustion, which is
no. That's just
terrible idea. All right, so what are our choices here? Because I think Johnny has killed the old idea and doesn't want anything to do with a new idea. And
well, it's just more fun to watch Dave's. Like the energy was just so different. You and I are like, well, what if we did this? Let me think about it for 20 minutes.
I like the hospital with hidden and locked rooms.
There
okay,
you go.
So there's a national secret there, right? Is it a virus? Is it a mutation? I mean, we've talked about mutations a lot. That's a very CI tropey thing. I could see like mutations are starting to happen, and the government is trying to keep it secret. So every time there's a case, they're ferrying people quickly to this little hospital somewhere. It's real small, maybe rural. Maybe it looks like a small hospital, but there's something subterranean all over it.
It's like a government base under the.
Yeah, like it's a huge base underneath, but it's a small little rural. You like from the outside, it looks like just Mayberry, this little town, but there's this whole government thing right under the hospital.
Like white space.
Well, no-ish, because that was public. They knew. This is a total secret. No one knows this. I mean, there's a whole little town that lives up there, and the whole town is a front for this government installation.
What if when people die, they come back? Not as zombies though, but something else. Some twist, some sort.
Could they? Could it be like
maybe people that just live in this town?
Maybe they come back as a host, or not a host, but like a parasite, like a spiritual parasite, and so they're like they need some like body to like go into, and so people don't know that they're being possessed. That could be the possessed by dead mother, which is one of our conflicts there. So this woman, her mom dies, and as she passes, her soul wisps into the daughter, and the daughter doesn't know that she's in there. She doesn't know this has happened. Maybe she thinks she's going kind of crazy, actually. And she's led to this hospital by instinct. It's her mother telling her to go. And she ends up going to this hospital and finds that there's all these other people are kind of going there too. Like in the stand when everybody's having the dreams and it's kind of like leading them. So maybe they're all being led and nobody knows why. Like that's the big mystery. That would be really fun to figure out. Like what is this new mutation that's causing this to happen? And why are people going here? And then they get to this town and they don't know what's in the town. Like, it just looks like Mayberry. But then maybe someone gets sick and they go to the hospital and then they realize oh my God, this hospital isn't what it seems like. And then they find the big facility.
Trying to think of something that hasn't been done.
I like Ashley's suggestion. Maybe her mother worked at the hospital, but the daughter never knew what she did there.
Okay. Let me think. The silence is golden.
I love it. No, I think this is great. I think this is instructive. I think it's helpful. I would love to hear this.
We should have stopped when we were ahead because this dead air is just killer.
Yeah.
No, I think it's appropriate.
Tyler asks, what's going on here? Is this an SPP episode or something special? We're brainstorming. We're doing a whole episode on brainstorming, so we're brainstorming some ideas. We have a second episode following up with John Monk, by the way.
Okay, so do we want to? I'm lost track of time. We still have like 5 minutes, right?
Well, we have 4, and we want to be able to get started before John, so we should stop now-ish.
Okay. Well, I thought that was really, really fun. I'd love to know if you guys did, because I could see it being a meandering episode, but I feel like that's really cool. Like live brainstorming, it shows you how available the ideas are if you just start like.
Yeah, the point is that we started with random prompts, and in a handful of minutes, depending on the story, we had something, which we could then continue to flesh out. And that's the point. Like this, it's the same point as Fiction Unboxed. It's not that there are great ideas. It's how can you take ideas and make them great.
Yeah, I would do this show, like a show like this, once a year where we brainstorm. I mean, if the community liked it, but I don't know. I just see it as very helpful.
All right. So this has been the Self-Publishing Podcast. I'll just remind everybody that in all seriousness, this was about figuring out where the main points of a story are, and that a story jacket is exactly for determining that. Like that's what you want to do, is do my acts make sense? Do my the logic of my characters make sense at the stage before you begin writing, so that you can write fast and smooth and end up with a story that's good. So if you want to get your story jacket, it's sterlingandstone.net/story jacket. Clark does 2 of those a week, and he's already booked ahead. So if you want to get in now. If you want to be anytime soon. Sean, you look like you have something to say before we leave. You look like you were.
No, I was trying to hide my smile because it was really big is all. And I didn't want you guys to ask what I was smiling about, but I'm just reading the chat, and it's people really like this episode, and that makes me happy.
All right. I'm going to come out with my own service. It's called Idea Jacket. I'll get really, really tired. And then if you need some ideas, just call me up.
And in the meantime, just go with Story Jacket at sterlingandstone.net/story jacket.
And Dave does not have the follow through to actually offer that service.
Right.
No, I don't.
So thanks for listening, everybody. If you're live, we will continue with John Monk after this. And if you aren't live, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.